was raped by someone in the neighborhood. It was an old, yeah.
How old were you?
10.
How old were they?
16. There was really only one person to kind of hang out with, play with, and he was this 16-year-old kid, and he would invite me over to his house to play music, and one day it became something else. I took a bunch of pills at my grandmother's house and just basically laid on the floor, and my ex-girlfriend's mom stopped at my grandma's house out of nowhere to check on me, to see how I was, found me. An hour later, I'm drinking Ipecac and throwing up into a bucket.
Are you mentally ill?
I don't believe I am, no. Unless you say that complex post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental illness. I've had a psychiatrist, one psychiatrist told me I'm the sanest person he's ever met, which of course everyone laughs at when I say that. Musicians are always a little on the edge. We're somewhere out there. Also, I'm a child abuse survivor, very severe child abuse survivor, so, you know, I'm a little out there. I'm unusual, irregular, eccentric.
When we talked on the phone, you told me that you tried to kill yourself 8 times.
I know, I counted up the times in my life that I've tried to.
In 1 year. Now, I want you to answer this question. What I resent about my mother.
She kicked the out of me.
Go on.
She won't change her clothes. She won't wash. Same for us. 5 years living in the same clothes, no washing. She won't heat the house. She won't get lights. She won't get out of bed. She won't stop taking drugs. She never tells me I'm pretty. She never tells me I'm sweet. She makes my little brother scream. She smells sick. There was a smell about her that was sickness. Smell of evil, you know.
How did she hurt you? How did she hurt you inside?
Kicking me, kicking me, and kicking me, and kicking me, and kicking me. And telling me I'm evil, and telling me I shouldn't have been born, and I'm the reason my father left. It's my fault.
It ignited a healing process in women who have gone through the same terrifying experience.
I still have no idea how he managed to do it, how he managed to pin my wrists down and cover my mouth. I kept yelling at him to take my money. I have money, it's on the counter. He was very condescending, and you asked for this. You're lucky. And he kept pushing me to the ground and kept hitting me and hitting me. He may have said, don't scream or I'll kill you. And finally he said, I'm not here for your money. And that's when I got quiet. I thought that being dead would be better than what I was feeling. And I knew what he was there for. He was there to rape me.
Interested in chasing the shadow and chasing the dark side. This is what I do.
It is her chilling lyrics in the song Me and a Gun that document that dark side, describing an event that happened to her in her early 20s.
Me and a gun and a man on my back.
Tori had just finished playing a nightclub and offered a fan a ride home. He ended up kidnapping and raping her. After years of struggle, she found her only way to deal with the rape was to write a song about it.
It's a song about brutality and invasion on the deepest level.
You put flat on your stomach.
Every time you sing that song, do you go back to that place that night? To heal the wound, you have to go into the dark night of the soul.
my real estate broker, Eric, he said, Brian, I don't mean to be weird with you, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I felt the scripture like jump out at me. I've never done this before, you know, so I don't really know how to do this, but I felt like this would mean something to you. It's Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I remember all tweaked out. I looked up in the dictionary, weary. I looked up burdened, and I pulled the scripture apart, and I was like, oh, I'm weary and burdened, and I need rest for my soul. And I didn't know if it was real, but you know, they invited me to church a couple weeks later, and I received Christ at the church. I went home, neglected my daughter, got it all smooth and powdery. Jesus, you got to take these drugs from me. Search me right now. Search my heart. Father. I felt so much fatherly love from heaven, and it was like, I don't condemn you. I love you. I love you. It was just love, and instantly that love from God came into me. It was so powerful that the next day I threw away all my drugs, and I quit corn. I was like, I'm quitting corn, and I'm gonna raise my kid, because my kid, like, I got the love from God coming to me, and then it came out of me to my kid. It changed me. My heart was changed like that, and I was like, Janaea, Daddy's gonna be home with you all the time. I'm quitting my career. And her face lit up, and she's like, for me? You know, she felt so special, and God used her to save me, to save her life later on. My dream came true way more than I dreamt about. I made more money. I played bigger shows. I mean, houses, cars. I tried drugs, I tried sex, I tried everything to try to get pleasure out of this life. And I thought that I could fulfill my life with all this stuff by having my dream come true, and it came true. But it didn't fulfill it. When Christ came in, that feeling, he gives you the gift of understanding life, which is everything was created for Christ and by him, and we're created to be with him. And it's the most incredible feeling, because you're where you belong, and contentment is given to you in life because you don't have to look anywhere else, and you're exactly where you need to be, and the question about life is answered.
I don't know if anybody out there can relate, but like, I have a hard time with life sometimes. Right. Sometimes it's great, but a lot of times for me, it's really hard. And no matter how I'm feeling, like, I always find myself like struggling with certain patterns of behavior. I find myself like stuck in like the same thing that keeps repeating over and over again. And I'm just like, how am I in this? And it's that moment where you're in it, and then you kind of separate yourself from that situation, and you look at it and you see it for what it is, and you're able to then do something about it. Like you've now broken out of that circle, that cycle. And
are you kind of, because the first couple of lines on the track make me think that you were like overthinking things in your life? Is it like
it could be. I mean, honestly, like there's so many circumstances that for me that relate to this situation, but like, I know that for me, when I'm inside myself, when I'm in my own head, it gets this place right here, this skull between my ears. That is a bad neighborhood, and I should not be in there alone. I can't be in there by myself.
What are you talking about?
It's insane.
Crazy, man.
It's crazy in here. This is a bad place for me to be by myself. And so when I'm in that, like, my whole life gets thrown off. Like, if I'm in there, like, I don't say nice things to myself. Like, there's another Chester in there that's like wants to take me down. And so, and I find that it could be whether it's substances or whether it's behavior or whether it's like depressive stuff or whatever it is. Like, if I'm not like actively like getting out of myself and being with other people, like being a dad, being a husband, being a bandmate, like being a friend, helping someone out. Like if I'm out of myself, I'm great. If I'm inside all the time, I'm horrible. I'm a mess. And so for me, it's like that was kind of where I don't like my mind right now, stacking up problems that are so unnecessary. You know, that's where that came from for me. And but it's the moment where it's like realizing like I drive myself nuts, like actually thinking that like all these are real problems. Like all the stuff that's going on in here is actually just, I'm doing this to myself. And regardless of whatever that thing is. And so this is that like conscious awareness of that thing. And like when you can step back and look at something, like you're actually elevating yourself consciously. Like you're enlightened at that point, right, to a certain degree. And so this is that moment of enlightenment where you go, you know, I could do something about this, and by doing it, I can move forward and get unstuck from this, and then I could actually be able to, for me, it's like I can live with life on life's terms. Like I can experience the whole spectrum of humanity and not want to get out of it, whether it's happiness, sadness, or whatever. Like I just want to, like when I'm in it, I just want to get out of however I'm feeling, no matter what it is.
So when you wrote this song, you were clearly in that bad neighborhood in your brain.
This time last year, I was a mess, like a total wreck, you know? And like, I think for a lot of people, they think like if you're successful, like all of a sudden, like you get like you get like some card in the mail that says like, you're going to be totally satisfied and happy for the rest of your life. It doesn't happen like that. Like life for me happens the way it always, the only difference is I'm in Lincoln Park. Like what goes on inside my head it's always been this way for me. So when I'm not working on that, like my life gets messy. And that's kind of how the inspiration for all these songs came from, conversations about life and what was going on as friends, as husbands, as fathers, as, you know, whatever, business partners. Like we were all talking about what was going on in all aspects of our lives at certain times throughout the process of this record. And we realized like, man, we've all gone through like some really crazy stuff, and we don't need to find the source of inspiration. Like, what's this record about? Like, this is our life. You know, we always have written about our lives, and like, that should just be enough. We don't need to find some new thing. Like, life is always throwing these like curveballs at you, whether they're good or bad. Like it just happens. And eventually what I found is, especially with the bad stuff, because that's the stuff that I kind of that's the stuff that sticks to me a little bit more, coming out at the other side and being like, man, I'm a better person because of that. Or I'm more compassionate because of that. Or, you know, I feel like I understand people or humanity a little bit differently because I've been through some pretty crazy stuff. And that's a positive. So finding the positive in all these things, that's what we always try to do, but we still talk about the feelings we had going through all these different circumstances.
feeling small when
all around like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me sail on, sail on.